This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you have on tap for us and all of our awesome listeners out there tonight?
Okay, well, tonight we're going back to the well of manga releases from prolific creator Shuzo Oshimi. Now, longtime readers will know that I first came into contact with his works through The Flowers of Evil. Story about this, relatively ordinary kid who gets swept up into this world of debauchery, for lack of a better term, by this outspoken, slightly crazed girl at his high school. I was not quite won over by the first volume, but subsequent volumes, really, did a good job in order to invest me in this story, and it also delivered probably one of the best endings I've I've encountered in recent memory, in the sense that it had a final chapter that actually made me rethink, everything that had come before. And it's rare that a series manages to pull it off, as well as the series did. So I've been kind of on board with whatever works of his have been published here here since. I've already talked about Happiness, the story about a boy who encounters a female vampire, and how his life changes for the better and worse as a result of that encounter. And at the same time, there were two of his series that were being published concurrently here: Blood on the Tracks and Subject of Tonight's podcast, Inside Mari. Blood on the Tracks is still ongoing, and with each volume managed to become more uncomfortable and more unpleasant. It's like to read, because it's big, and it also may have already encountered this major jumping the shark moment in a in a moment where Oshimi does his very best to try and sell you on the idea that our character basically has this encounter moment where it's like, if you see in a horror movie, you see someone who's like about to open the door, and you tell them, like, don't go in the room. It's like, well, he goes in the room, despite any and all obvious issues to the contrary. And after that, it's like, I'm just kind of like, man, this is just so dumb. Why am I still reading this? Well, that's where I'm with that series. Inside Mari, however, was easily the more interesting of the two, in the sense that it actually tried to set up something more a, uh, a twist on the standard body swap story, because it starts off with introducing us to this character, Isao Komori, a a college age student who is not actually going to college. That's because he just lost his nerve one day, and now just spends his days, playing video games, eating food, reading porn, and masturbating. It's living his best life, if you will. And he's just lamenting the fact that this is what his life has come to. It's like, and he's doing his best to hide this from his life from his parents. But even as he's going through all this self-indulgent pity, he's got one thing he looks forward to every evening. That's seeing the angel of the convenience store. It's like this one girl, who comes to the who comes in and just buys some things, and just seeing her just makes his day. It's like however bad it may be. And when I decide to just follow her home, because he's, in addition to being the sad sack, he's also a total creeper as well. And then you know as he's following her, she looks behind her, sees him, and gives this cryptic smile. Next thing we know, it's like, Isao wakes up the following morning, and he's not in his room. He's in someone else's room. He is in the girl's room, not because he followed her home and tried to sleep with her or something worse. No, he is the girl now. He is now Mari Yoshizaki, and he's going to have to deal with being a girl going to high school, and someone who has the kind of social life that someone like him could only dream about. And well, it's like, this being an Oshimi manga, it's like things go as awkwardly as you'd expect for him. He's petrified of disgracing her, so he doesn't actually look in the mirror when he's changing into her clothes. It's like, and he's also just like acting like really weird in class as you'd expect him to, and it's just like a lot of awkward cringe stuff up until the point when this other girl, because well, Mari's got her own like clique of friends, and they seem just like the standard like popular girl like type characters. This other girl, Yori, well, when she manages to encounter Mari alone at one point, she says, see, looks at her and realizes that like you're not Mari. It's like you're not acting like her. Who are you? And that's when Isao breaks down and tells her what's going on. And while Yori is kind of like shocked at all this, she nevertheless agrees to um, help Isao try to figure out what's going on here, and that basically like forms the crux of the story as it takes us through the first three volumes as Isao and Yori try to like retrace Mari's steps, like her daily life through before she wound up in Isao's body, and all, it's like and also just try to like, keep Mari's social life from falling completely apart. However, one big twist that appears early on is the fact that, well, it turns out that, even if Isao is in Mari's body, Isao is still in his own body as well. So, what's going on here? Like, this is supposed to be a body switch manga. Why is like the original like Isao's still walking around, and why does he not recognize Mari? Why does he not recognize his angel of the convenience store? It's these like questions that like help drive the series like early on. It's like and like Oshimi's like skill with characterization. It's like and knack for making the reader as uncomfortable as possible. It's like do provide some good solid like dramatic hooks as it goes on, especially for me once it starts to become clear that, well, maybe this isn't a body swap manga. Maybe the issue here at the heart of the story is something more related to mental illness than any kind of say magical realism. Now, that was something that helped it helped elevate my opinion of the Flowers of Evil. That's like at the end of its run. Inside Mari, however, now it's worth mentioning that even though it's like Inside Mari is like come out after two of Oshimi's latest series, this is actually the series he followed up the Flowers of Evil with. Yeah, so it's kind of and looking at it now, it kind of feels that maybe like Oshimi kind of peaked early with that series because the subsequent series haven't been on the same level. Then yes, that includes Inside Mari. Well, it's certainly an entertaining and interesting read. At the end, it kind of feels less than the sum of its parts because while I was reading through this as it was coming out, I was curious about about the but what was actually going on with Mari, and interested in seeing like her relationship with Yori develop, which feels which generally feels pretty credible as things go on, as it kind of has a feeling like this is like a love story between girls, even if it doesn't cross any like obvious lines. But it's still interesting to see their relationship develop, and also just see how these two try to figure out what's going on here. And as the series goes on, like it's like I said, it's like when you're the first time through, you got that feeling of not knowing what's waiting for you at the end, and by the time you get to the end, well, I guess it's gonna kind of depend on how you feel about things, because it feels like there's like a lot of stuff. There's some stuff that really feels underserved by the story. Because without giving too much away, I'm gonna say called it, and also I kind of feel that that the issue of mental illness really was underserved here, in the sense that it's like what Mari is going through. I'm not sure if it would be resolved in a way as straightforward as this, because what I've seen of mental illness and it's like in real life. I mean, it's not something that's really like, oh, like, yeah, you just need to do this, then you'll be all better. No, it's really it's a constant fight and struggle against, like something that's always, like I'm barking at your door and can come at you like at any time. The way it's presented here kind of feels like it's just like a puzzle box ready to be solved. When yeah, the central issue here is like really dramatic, but at the same time, it's like the series like acknowledges like there are deeper psychological issues here, and it just kind of like hangs its hat on. Okay, here's what's happened, and now she's all better. And one of the other things that gets waylaid by that is the whole reason that Mari like had this problem to begin with, and that's also due to like her mother's um meddling as well. It's like, I mean, like what we find out about here, it's like, I mean, we found out about her mother's like she's kind of like a standard like like type A personality, just like hey, everything's fine, just do your best. It's like, and just do everything I say, and just try not to cause problems for us. It's like, and apparently like your mom is just like just trying her best to maintain a perfect family, and that whenever that instant something pops up that threatens it, well, she just kind of falls to pieces, and that's it. And really, it's like we needed more than that, considering like like how like how her like her role in the story like like is presented. Like she's really kind of critical to what happens to Mari, but we don't actually get to learn a whole lot about her, why she did what she did, and more importantly, it's like what's what happens to her after she just like calls it quits on the family. It's like it's it's like that whole part just feels kind of like swept under the rug, in like when the finale rolls around, and like to see her again at the end, it's just kind of like, oh well, it's all good. It's like because Ocean wanted to give us a happy ending, and that's another problem, because even on a second read, the ending kind of doesn't really impress. I mean, putting aside the called it fact, it just like there's not really any like real surprises here. It's like just kind of like if you're able to guess what was going on, the series does nothing more than just like affirm that, and just let you know that hey, everything's gonna be all right. It's like it's like our protagonists are gonna be fine in the end, and I guess that's all right. But at the same time, it kind of feels unearned, like in the sense that like I don't know. It's like there's nothing. Like I said, there's no surprise. There's no like learning anything more about the characters or getting greater insight into their personalities. It's just hey, happy ending. Yeah, everything's gonna be good for the characters. Yay! And they all live happily ever after. That's basically what happens here. I mean, the series does has like I said does have some interesting stuff to recommend in terms of its characterization. Like Oshimi's like his face game has always been strong, and there's a lot of like great just like ways he like gives characters like really 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 like energetic, emotional, like and downright twisted faces in order to represent their emotional state over the course of the series. And you can also see him experimenting with some of the like more experimental like panel structures and storytelling techniques he deploy later in happiness and blood on the tracks. So even though it's like you can see him trying to push his style further than what we got in the Flowers of Evil, the storytelling is ultimately not quite on the same level. And if I'm going to recommend this to anyone, it's basically going to be like to established fans. Like you'll see, like I said, you can see like how the character how the creator progressed his style, and you also see him doing another twist on his familiar storyline, which is basically a boy gets pulled into some kind of like strange new world through an unconventional girl. This may be the furthest twist he puts on this thing, but it's like it's. But I also wouldn't say it's not quite the best. Flowers of Evil still like the one series that I would recommend any of his fans check out, or non-fans to check out. Ultimately, Inside Mari is one for like established fans, but it's not bad. I was just expecting better, but it's still better right now than Blood on the Tracks, which my God, it's like I probably gonna maybe I'll quit that series at some point, but I'm 11 volumes in, and I feel committed to seeing how it's gonna turn out. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, maybe it'll wrap up later this year.
Sometimes it's like reading a train wreck. That's not a thing. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, but like I like to think the train wrecks I like to follow are at least entertainingly awful. This one is just painful in the sense that my God, I know I can see where this is going, and you're not doing any effort to convince me that you're heading somewhere different than that.
Yeah, that's kind of distressing. So, yeah, when it's like, hey, yeah, this doesn't seem to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, but I guess right now I'm just suffering for everyone else at this point. At least that's what I tell myself.
Hey, you're doing a great service for the public out there.
Yeah. Thanks for the words of encouragement, John.
Yeah, you got that. So, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, hey, we're already in the year of our Lord 2023, so I guess it's time to talk about the best comics of 2022. So, well, time to assemble a best and worst list. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, we'll catch you next time, sometime in the common era
Yep.
on Comics Picks by the Glick. We'll
All right.
talk to you next time.
Later, everyone.